week to Prep Talk. Got a special guest for you this week. I've been doing football shows, but today I got basketball. We're going into basketball, not for good, but I just want to talk to Coach Liptak, a long time, Lake County, can we say? Actually.
Yeah, long time Lake County, 1986.
Oh, man.
So let's go that route.
Yeah. We won't do that math.
Yeah, no math.
Yeah. So I brought him in. He's at Mount Dora High School, and tryouts are getting ready to start next week on November 1st. And so I wanted to talk to you before you guys got into that. So if we can go a little bit, just talk about maybe how you became a coach back in 1986.
Yeah, well, it started, for me, it started back in 82 at my high school. When I got out of college, I was fortunate enough to get the 9th grade job.
Oh, okay.
So at my alma mater, Sharpsville, Pennsylvania. So, and got to work with my head coach from high school. Right. So that was kind of cool. So that's what started it, and then I ended up making a move down here. So I was out of it for about 3-4 years, and got hooked up in 1985 with playing basketball at Faith Lutheran Outdoor Court.
Oh yeah.
Met a young kid by the name of John Lancaster, and he invited me to come watch him practice at Eustis, and next thing you know, I'm involved in helping Mike Herring and his staff out. So.
And you were hooked, I guess you could say.
Well, basketball, I've always been hooked. I've been playing basketball since I've been 2nd grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Second grade, played a little league, 1 year of football, and 9th grade, I said, nah, this ain't me. And so it was a good experience. I mean, it's my love.
Yeah.
So my passion.
When did you decide that coaching was going to be like the way?
You know what? I think all the coaches I've been around, it starts to grow on you a little bit. Playing point guard, you really are a coach on the court.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
if you're good anyway.
Yeah. and so that was one thing. I kind of my high school years. I mean, even my coach today, I talk to him every often. He came down 1 year. He was a big driving force for me to coach. He came down 1 year when we played in the Final 8 against PK Young. Yeah. He flew down and actually rode the bus up with us.
Mount Dora playing?
Yeah, Mount Dora.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was kind of cool to have him there. I run some stuff that we ran in high school for him. But so he has a lot to do the way I coach.
Yeah.
Of course, I always tell him I made him as a coach. When I go back and see him and so forth. But and then my college coaches, I take a little pieces from them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of drove me. I think my position of basketball point guard.
Yeah. Let's not overlook that we kind of glanced over in '98. You guys did win the state championship.
Yeah, I was assistant for Scott Williams, who Eustis grad.
Yeah.
And just a phenomenal coach.
Yeah.
I mean, all the respect in the world. Yeah. And we, I went over with him in '91 when we left Eustis, and was with him until the end of 2000. So he's very good.
Yeah.
He's very good. In '98, heck of a team.
Yeah.
Heck of a team. Winning state championships in basketball. I know there's a couple like Leesburg's done it a couple times, but it's far and in between.
So I mean, you left Eustis in '91. I remember that team. I went to Tallahassee to see, you guys had already gone far.
Great team there. Mike Herring did a really good job, and it was fun to coach with him on that squad too. And some of those, it's kind of funny because you got some assistant coaches that were on Bill Perry that's helping out.
Yeah.
Eustis, he was on that team, and great team for having people or players that were less than 6 foot. A lot of those guys, we were quick, fast.
This is known for
played
speed.
hard.
Yeah.
Community was awesome back in the day. I mean, basketball back in the day with, and that's a difference that I don't like seeing, but you couldn't get into gyms back in the day. Watch a game. If you didn't get there early, you weren't getting in.
Especially Mount Dora, Eustis, or
games and
Tavares, Mount Dora, they were all just.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's very easy to see what's happening. Is that the communities are. Eustis is pretty much. They kept probably, I think, the majority of their community stuff, but Mount Dora is different.
Yeah.
We don't have. I've coached about 4 players now that I coached their dads. So interesting, but you don't see, I'm not getting kin to a lot of the players.
Right.
So, they're people are coming out. And I think that's why you don't have the crowds, because you don't have ownership in the school.
Of people like watching them grow up and everything.
Yeah, I think that was one of the big. And again,
that's kind of neat. Like,
if you think about it, we chose way back when, they wanted to consolidate.
Right.
Back in the day, and no one wanted. They wanted their community schools, which that's when they built all the new schools.
Right,
and,
like South Lakes and the East Ridges.
Everybody wanted to do that, and so, but I think that hurt our attendance with stuff, because you got people moving in that don't have the history with the school.
Right. Yeah, in the community. Yeah.
So I see that.
So we're here today to talk about tryouts. Like I said,
Yep.
you guys have tryouts coming out next Tuesday,
October 31st.
Oh, so it's on Monday, like on Halloween.
October 31st.
That's
we have practice October 30th, or tryouts October 31st.
That was a bad dad joke. I said that's scary. Yeah. But so like, what's the toughest thing that you're looking for, or what's the toughest thing about choosing players? Because
this is the first week of tryouts is the worst thing about being a head coach.
Oh, really?
I hate it.
And it's different than football, because football is kind of like, if we have enough helmets, you can play.
That's exactly right. There's a numbers game. I mean, we've had in the past anywhere from 55 to 60 kids trying out, and we got
only keeping what?
15 and 12.
Wow.
So it's made decisions hard. I had to change the way I try out, and I know there's a lot of schools who already probably have teams picked, and tryouts is just a formality.
Right.
But I don't look at it that way. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity. Someone can surprise you. You never know. You just never know. And, I think what hurts, what makes it tougher with tryouts also is we don't have freshman teams anymore.
Right. Because there used to be 3 teams.
So now you're looking at tryouts as, okay, I got to, sophomores got to play. I got to keep some freshmen on that JV team for the future, So now you're maybe taking away a junior that maybe will help you the following year, and you're not keeping them down on JV team. So it gets, it's sad. It really is tough. I don't like it at all.
Right.
And so what we've had to do, or what I've done, is change the way we try out. So it's all fundamental. We don't play, because when you try to play with that many kids, someone's going to be just standing there and not even participating.
Right.
They're not going to get the ball. They're not going to. So you don't really.
Everyone's trying to show you what they got. Yeah.
So we do our tryouts are basically all skill driven.
Okay.
So it's pass, dribble, shoot. We try to throw some things in there that shows their basketball IQ. Which
big.
Right now that's the problem. I think with basketball is there's no IQ.
Yeah.
They don't understand. When someone asks you, how long can you stand in the foul line?
Right.
Really. So you start to wonder about that. But so we roll it down there. We have a sheet that we try to, score the best we can, as many as we can. Of course, there's going to be some kids that you right off the bat, which is sad. And you can only tell the Michael Jordan story so often that he didn't make the team his freshman year, and that whole stuff. But so we'll go through that, and so we'll take that and we'll take a look at that. We give them 2 days. Time, so we're going to give them 2 days.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make a decision on some, and then we're going to turn around 2 days later and make another decision.
Wow.
And then we got football scenario coming in, so we don't know. So you got to keep some of that
spaces,
especially like just like our both our teams, and if they whoever wins probably this Friday is going to move on, which gives you another week that you can't get some of those kids, and then you got JV kids if they move them up, which I have talked to our coach about that.
Right.
You at least let them come. If they're just moving up for a jersey, can you just let them try out so we can at least kind of look at that?
Right.
But it's it makes it tough. That makes it tough. It's never and it gets down some. It also will get down because we not only we mark that down. I'm going to call or talk to admin. And I'm going to find out what that kid's like on campus. I'm not. You can have all the athletic ability in the world, but if you're just one of these kids on campus, I'm too old for that.
That's great.
In our program, you've got to have character. Because again, as coaches, the percentage of our kids that play at the next level in the county, is not at a high level.
Right.
I remember when I was doing travel ball, we used to talk about, there was a stat out, it was .004 for a high school kid to play at the next level of Division I basketball.
Yeah.
If you were 6'5" or better. And it was .002 if you were less.
Division so basically no chance.
At Division I. You know, I know it's when we try to get our kids, there's a ton of schools out there that academically you could get in, you know, and play maybe multiple sports at the D3 level.
Yeah.
But things have changed with that. So they have to look at hey, you know, you got to be a good character.
This may be a dumb question, but is there walk-ons at college for basketball?
There are. There are.
Okay.
You can, they're going to need practice squads and stuff like that. Not everybody's getting a scholarship. So, you know, there's you could see some of those guys at the end of the bench that have a uniform. They're probably doing that, and sometimes they're not on the bench, but they're the practice squad, part of the program and so forth. You're seeing now a lot of teams, colleges have GD teams because of COVID and the transfer portal and all that stuff like that.
Right.
So it's really, that has done a disadvantage to the high school players in all sports.
Yeah.
It stinks. It really stinks. So as coaches, we know that. So now we're really building character.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a win-loss guy. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. You coached 40 years, you don't.
Yeah. We weren't going to put a number on it.
I don't even do that.
We weren't going to put a number on it.
I don't even look at it. I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. I really don't. As a head coach, I really don't.
Wow.
You know, I was doing travel ball at the same time I was doing high school. So I'm doing 60, 70 games a year. I don't.
Because I met you through Harrison Babb, throwback.
I remember that day. Harrison, Kendrick,
shout out to Harrison
Stubbs.
Babb.
Stubbs. I remember that travel ball team.
Kendrick Jones, I think he was dunking at like fourth grade.
You know, Brian Daly was on that team. You know.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I remember those kids. See, that's the cool thing about coaching. You remember those kids, you watch them grow up.
Oh yeah.
I get excited about that.
Yeah.
I really do. If they're doing well, and you know, like I said, you know, everybody's. I think when you look at those useless kids, they're probably in their 50s now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
I think.
And I laugh. So when I meet them, I always tell them, I say, you know, you're older than I was when I was coaching you. So I got a little plug into that, but it's fun. It's really nice to see kids do well. And
that's awesome.
So.
If we can go back to, like, you know, we talked about how tough you know, the tryouts can be, or just like having to cut kids.
Yeah.
How have you had to deal with some of the parents that think that, you know?
Well, I'm fortunate so far. You know, I try not to be. I hate to say it this way too. I try not to be arrogant about it.
Yeah.
You know, but I do have the knowledge of what you need to play the game.
Right.
And I tell my parents that in a meeting. I said I'm not trying to be at the point that I've been coaching basketball and playing it for a long 50 years. Yeah. So I kind of know
what it takes.
And I've coached players at all levels, so it's kind of like, so you know, my parents have been really, you know, I've had one or two here and there.
Yeah.
You know, but majority of them, they're very respectful and they understand, and I'll sit down with them and tell them this and that, and I think this year there's a possibility we might film it.
Oh, really?
And one, for two reasons. One,
like just
for me,
proof, or just
no, just for me too. For maybe we missed something in there.
Oh, okay, right.
And then you know, because you know, when
you're
doing multiple drills and stuff, you can't see them all the time. But now I can kind of, you know, take a look at them and see what's going on. And when it really gets down to making that decision about, you know, this or that.
Yeah.
But you know, we have you know, when it's just tough. It's tough. I don't like it, and I dread this week.
Right.
Coming, I really do. But I bring multiple. Now I will have 5 or 6 people in the gym that will be evaluated, not just my staff.
Oh, okay.
So the more eyes, the better.
Right.
You know, that I trust, that they know what we're looking for,
right.
and been with me, or been around me, or this or that. So they know.
Do you think basketball is one of those sports? I mean, it's kind of off the rails a little bit, but. Because me and my wife used to watch American Idol like all the time. Like every week we'd watch it. And I'm no critic, but I would know instantly, like this guy or this girl, she can, you know. In basketball, it's kind of like that. You know, they get a ball and they start dribbling. Like, well, hey, this guy's watch this kid.
Right. When you do, it's kind of like when you do just the fundamental drills, the simplest drills of all kind. You're not putting a kid in a position that it's way over their head to do it, you know, because you know a freshman's not going to be able to do some of that stuff. But, example, you got to just doing a little layup drill, and you can't dribble the ball, and the layup goes from one side of the basket to another. I mean, it's just not. He's not there yet.
Right.
You know, again, or he hasn't been taught that, or to me, basketball is always everybody. If you ever think about it, and probably go back to your PE classes when you were there, or just in general, everybody thinks they can play the game of basketball.
Oh yeah.
Right, because all you need is a ball and a hoop.
That's it.
Right, you don't need anybody to throw it to you or anything like that. So everybody's, and that. So I get.
No other
so
equipment.
you get it. Tryouts, you get a lot, and God bless them. Trust
Yeah.
me. I respect those kids that are coming out and put, their time in, even though they know, but they're still out there. And that, I mean, to me, that's very respectful. You have to respect the young man.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna that maybe doesn't understand, or maybe he does, but he still just wants to do that. And but we just don't have room for everybody.
Right. Right.
If we had a freshman team, probably all those freshmen would be down.
Do you think that could come back? I mean, is that something?
Yeah, I think it's a financial situation. I always thought about
the numbers there, right? Like for the kids.
For us right now, the numbers would be there because the freshmen are the ones that need that extra year of just fundamentals.
Right. Right.
And basketball too.
Yeah.
I mean, they learn from that situations and film watching.
No
You
more
could do a little
key.
bit more.
Yeah.
I always thought always thought about doing a fundamental, the ones that I caught, giving them an opportunity to come in on a Saturday, and we just work on basic drills and stuff like that. And I'm still kicking that out now that I'm retired from my job. I'm still kicking that around, but I think it would help them.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
really cool.
participation, but
well, it keeps them engaging, because now the transfer portal is kind of a thing.
That's another story that maybe we'll touch on.
Yeah.
But, I'll give you my real opinion about that.
Right. If we want to hear it, right?
Yeah. You want to hear it.
So going along with tryouts and picking out kids and players and stuff, like I call this the Steph Curry effect. Like he's come in and he looks smaller on the court. I mean, he's like 6'3", he's a tall guy, but he just looks so much smaller, and he's such a great shooter, shooting from half court. I mean, it's just a kid at 8 that is smaller can envision himself playing ball because of the 3-point. Right. And even tall guys are now starting to shoot. Like there's no back to the basket, Shaquille O'Neal players. Right. So how has that changed your
you have to look at it that way. It changed a little bit. I'll tell you the biggest thing about it is that because I think the high school stat from the 3-point line now is like less than 30, maybe in the 20s. Honestly, I mean it's not a high figure.
Really?
And and now I'm saying makes. Attempts is a whole different story. Okay, but you might be making maybe even 20-some% as a team, right?
Right.
But what the 3-point shot creates is long rebounds, which now your guards have to be stronger and physically, that they have to be part of the rebounding.
Absolutely.
Before just the big guy get it.
Right.
And
4s and 5s.
And so now that pulls in it. For us, I'll give anybody the 3-point shot. You can always adjust to that.
Yeah.
But your percentages are, if you rely on that all the time, you're not.
Right.
You're going to see a lot of teams not be successful.
Right.
Because you're not Steph Curry. And people don't understand. That's another thing about tryouts and things. Is kids, I'll tell the story about Steph. Steph had one offer unfitted.
Yeah. Davidson.
That's it. Think about that.
Yeah.
As talented, and he grew up, dad being an NBA player, so he was
probably
probably around the ball more than anybody, and it's just that it takes time, and he's the full package. His IQ is through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what kids need to watch. That kind of stuff is not the dunk and the sensational Euro steps all the time.
Which he can dunk, but it's not part of his game.
IQ is through the roof.
Yeah.
So that makes him a better player, and his ball handling. So all the fundamentals that a lot of people don't teach nowadays, you still have to have that to participate in the game.
And maybe he was a little bit smaller, and he got started working on his dribble. I mean, he's one of the best handlers there is.
I enjoy watching him. He's a point. I mean, you get that many points and still have 6-7 assists. I mean, you're
right. That's what I would say. So I mean, with the basketball changing and everything, what do you think the biggest obstacle is? I mean, you've been doing it for, let's just go 20 years back when I was in school in 2000 or 98 when you guys won the state championship.
I think, I go back to some of, again, I think I told you earlier that we did 20 years ago, we had that started at Lake County Lakers, LBA basketball.
Oh, yeah.
With Harrison. I mean, so it was like me, Skip Babb, Steve Burr, names from the past, Bonnie Boyd, Chad's dad, and stuff like that. So we started that because there was a lack for the better players to, not just the YMCA, but getting the better group of players.
Right.
And I think you had high school coaches, we were helping them, we were teaching them all that stuff. And basketball was really good back in that day because you had high school coaches. Now with all the travel ball stuff, and I coached travel ball, so I understand that, but we were a different level. I don't think anybody's teaching them. I mean, I really believe that because I get kids that say they play travel ball and they can't do a left-handed layup, and someone's not teaching them. Playing games and winning is one thing, but you're not doing justice if we're not.
Because there's probably not a lot of practice time to get developed, right? I mean, they're just going.
No, and you got these trainers that are taking over and want to train these guys, and that's great too. But the basics are the basics. If you can't do certain things, the Euro stuff don't mean anything to me. Or this or that, or what I mean. So, but I think that has changed. The game has changed there. Where if you looked at 20 years ago with the Eustis team and stuff, we shot the ball a little bit from the perimeter or something, but certain guys did.
Right. The Zach Ward.
Yeah, well, you look at that 98 team for Mount Dora, there was probably 3 guys that had the green light.
Yeah.
Today, everybody thinks they got the green light. And I remember having a coach, friend of mine from Gainesville, he said he'd tell them to make, give you 100 shots, you make 25, and I'll let you shoot it. Well, they were getting ready to do that, but then he'd say, well, hold on, and he'd stand in front of them, put a hand up.
Oh, right. Contested.
Yeah, they're not going to. And it's the easiest shot in basketball to shoot. And, easiest to attempt. Let's go that route. But it really hurts you in the long run if you're not making any of those things.
Right.
And I think we're going to play a different style of ball, but if they don't this year, I'll take it off of them.
Yeah.
And we have done that. I think at Eustis, we took it off in one or two games. I know at Mount Dora, we took them off. There was nobody shooting it. It's just you settle.
Right.
You don't, kind of thing. So that's changed the game. Fundamentals have changed the game. And like I said before, the basketball IQ, no one's watching TV.
Right.
No one's watching it. No one's actually sitting down.
Right. And then, like you said, I mean, with the long rebounds, I mean, that starts fast breaks for the
other team. It starts the other way,
right.
And so now you've got, because everybody's here and there's one guy shooting it. You don't know when he's going to shoot it. You come down, jack it up, come off the dribble, and everybody's running this way. Next thing, the ball's going that way.
And boom. Yeah. We're going to start wrapping up in a little bit, but I did want to bring back the transfer, like how that's kind of come into play now with.
I tell you what,
college and now high school. And
the thing what we're doing in the state is just not. The loyalty goes back to the loyalty of the schools and stuff. No one wants to be loyalty. You don't want to. I always struggle with the fact that you get a guy leaves and you're still friends with him. I never could. I can't figure that out.
Yeah.
That goes back 20, 25 years ago. I know if somebody left. I know when I was playing, somebody left our school, and the first thing that's happening to him is one hard foul right out of the gate.
I think Kevin Garnett he's the last one that really took what team he was on to, like, if you weren't a part of that team, you're an enemy. I
just don't like that. I think it's not fair to the coaches either.
Right.
Because now, and I don't know if it's so much the head coaches that are, but I think people that are involved in something in the program are the ones that are starting this, getting them to move.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They're doing that in. Realistically, read the rules. It's totally illegal. Kid can't do that.
Right.
Anybody affiliate parent can't be asking people to go to the other. I just think I think it's bad. And as a player, I don't know how I would. Well, I know how I would take it. Would be that I don't need anybody to make us better. I guess I need to get better.
Okay.
But see, we don't have that attitude. Right. It's like, no, we need this guy. And I'm thinking
he's going to help us a
lot. Now, if you're a player that's put in 3 years and this kid's coming in, I mean, what does that say? So if you're a parent, you go back to the parent thing.
Right.
Would you be upset as a parent if some
couple
2 or 3? Yeah. I mean, to me, that would be. There is a reason for that.
Right. If my son was finally going to get a shot his senior year, after putting in his dues, and then someone comes in and kind of takes the spot.
And again, thank God we're not a financial situation. So if you're at a school where you're paying to go to school there, and then you're going through the process, I mean, that would even be worse. So I think
that's true.
I don't like it. I really don't. And then as a coach, I don't know.
But even though it can benefit you though, like if
I still don't. I didn't know because I would question the character.
Why is he leaving? Right.
You're leaving because of playing time. I don't care what anybody wants to talk about. It boils down to playing time.
Yeah.
We have, and with our kids.
Or if they think the team's not going to be that good.
Right.
Like it's still
college coaches are smart enough to understand if you can play or not.
Right.
You don't need to be on. No, you need to be visible. But I just went to a clinic, and the coach said, "Don't send me a highlight tape." He said, "You send me a highlight tape, I'm not even going to open it.
Right.
I want game film." So it don't matter what team you're playing on. If you've got good game film and it shows your skill level, and you're playing good competition, that's another thing. Don't show me and you're playing 2014.
Right.
Show me a good competition, and so I think that's again, that's very important. At our place, we talk about a couple things. We talk about return on investment because our kids.
You talked to me about this before.
Yeah, we give our kids a lot of stuff, and we ask a lot, but it's not wins and losses. It's how you act on campus and so forth.
Right.
And admin's got my cell phone number. Late for class, I want to know. Acting up, I want to know. And then we have consequences of that. And the last thing we go back to the coaching thing is why I coach and forth. I had a gentleman who just passed away. His name was Conrad Foss. He handled Florida League. He was very well known in the state.
Yeah.
And he was always about pushing kids to do and he did a lot for kids.
Right.
And I remember asking him one time why he did it. And it kind of stuck because we were the same thing. We give to the game and so forth. And his comment to me was, he has what he has today, or had today, based on basketball, what basketball gave him.
Yeah.
So now he's just giving back to a sport
that gave him so much.
And I look at myself and said, hey, I don't get a scholarship to play at college.
Right.
I don't have what I have. So I'm probably in the same boat, giving back.
Yeah.
Which makes it pretty cool.
I think we all, as coaches, that's kind of why we do it, right?
Yeah, there's that poem called The Dash, which if anybody should look at it, it's really cool. It's like, you're born this day, you die this day.
Yeah.
What did you do during the dash?
The dash, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I told my kids that story.
Yeah.
And I said, think about what is your dash going to be like right now? You're young enough to make your dash.
The dates mean nothing. What is the dash?
And there's no wins and losses going to be on my tombstone. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be born today. And I'm hoping my dash really meant a lot to the game. So
I like that.
Yeah, it's a strong poem. It'll choke you up. Yeah, it's really something to read.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, okay, so I want to say the underlying thread that's kind of been through all my shows so far is character.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
I think if you're a coach or even
I talked to two players so far, and they just it was character.
I'm too old for all the other stuff, kind of thing. As a coach, I'm old school. I had good coaches around me that. Wanted me to do the right thing and so forth. And coaches have a big influence on kids. I mean, we say that all the time, but it's true.
Right.
It's true. And if we're not really trying to help them and hold them accountable for things, you're not doing justice to for him. And character is huge. Huge. You'll win games with character because the kids will buy into your program. They'll do what you want them to do. They won't question you. Yeah. And if they have good character, most likely as parents or a grandparent or some family member has gotten to them.
Right.
And we're there to just take that and build it.
And I didn't ask you this. This is not something I prepped you for, but the return on investment, you brought it up on what you asked your players for. Have you been able to see what that return was?
Absolutely.
Has there been a story?
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing is because they know what, and I'm pretty upfront how much we spend on it. I will let them know because they need to know that we just got new uniforms and we're just getting T-shirts. And again, they don't do fundraisers. I'm very fortunate to have some people around me and some very fortunate for myself. Very fortunate for myself too that
that's awesome.
you know, have the capability of what the game has given me in my profession and so forth like that, and so they don't do it. So I have a little bit of this.
Car washes, bake sales.
No.
Wow.
No. And again, I think the parents see that too. It goes back to the parent situation. It's hard to
hate that,
you know, and so forth. But I do, you know, we ask a lot of our kids to do that. But I tell you where I see the return on investment is when they're doing something I don't have to ask them to do. So game before game, you know, they're grabbing the chairs, they're doing this. Right. I don't have to ask them for that. Right. You know, the uniforms at the end of the game, they're in the bag. They're into this. They're, you know, I get good reports from the school. Right. These kids are doing great, and that's my return.
All your return.
That's my return. You know, in the community, you know, whatever we got to do. When you don't have to ask some kid to do something, then you know that they're
getting it.
Their characters up there, you know, and
that's awesome.
You know, some of them helped park some cars for me this weekend. You know, that's our fundraising, parking cars. But again, I don't ask them to be there, and they show up there. So, I mean, again, we're fortunate. We're very fortunate as a program. But those kids, that's when I see that. And then you get some of the ex-players that want to come back. You know, Keith Harris helps me out. Well, he played a long time ago, I think, in 07. I think he's on that plaque right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the one next to it, I think. With Logan Bridges and stuff like that. So whatever that was, 07, 08. So he helps on a program. I had a kid that just a couple years ago, player, he wants to help out.
Yeah.
So, you know, having those, that means they like what was going on there.
Right.
They want everything.
And that's a return too. It's a long.
I always see people. I see my ex-players, and again, it's tough because when you coach this long, you have to ask the questions: what year you graduated, and who's all on that team, you know, and then it starts to come through, you know. But it's just so many. But it's a great.
But once it clicks, you know them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we start talking about it all the time, and I get on them about missing layups or not boxing out that one time. Right. I always got a story to tell. But it's all good. It's all good. And again, coaches are coaching because they want to make kids better. Right. Personally, more than anything. Right. Because for what they pay us. Right. Any coach right now.
I've said that a number of times.
I mean, I've done the math sometimes just to kid around with people and stuff. I would think we're probably making $2 to $3 an hour. Maybe. If without counting summertime stuff. So you're probably into the census.
Yeah. Because with football, we got winter workouts, spring, summer workouts. The fall is the season. Winter workouts, spring, fall. You know, it's like you got to be there every season.
Yep.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Every season of the year.
Yep.
I shouldn't say it.
And I don't think parents realize that.
Yeah.
And again, you know, and I think parents, you asked that question about parents and tryouts and stuff, they got to buy in too. Right. You know, that's one thing parents, I don't know if they understand that. Yeah. And the little things like, you know, hey, practice is over at 8 and you're picking your child up at 8:30. Well, we have to stick around, as you all know, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's not considerate enough. So you almost, in a parent meeting, and today you have to let them understand. Yeah. They're going to be late. I understand circumstances. Yeah. But that does affect playing time. Oh, yeah. Does affect that stuff. Yeah. You know, so. Yeah. But.
Yeah, I get it. So before we wrap up, I do end my shows kind of the same way with the same question of like, you know, what would you do? And you've been going since, we'll say 85. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we're not going to put a number on it. But what would you like, what would you say? What advice do you wish you would have had or, you know, starting?
You know, I don't know. You know,
or is there anything?
You know, there is. Excuse me. I was very fortunate. I started like in second grade. So the one, Lou Fortuno, that helped me get into the game of basketball. Yeah. You know, he was there. Then I had two coaches at my parochial league, you know, in 7th and 8th grade. And Buddy Gerino was one of them. And he really was that nice guy. You know, so I kind of took a little bit of that, how he treated players and stuff. Right. So that, and then I got into high school and got to college. But I wish they would have told me the game was going to change and the parents were going to change, and so we could be prepared for that a little bit, you know? Because I just remember my mom and dad never talked to the coach back when I was in high school. College, you know, they never approached him about anything. You know, it was the thing. And I think my mom and dad, and I always keep them as an example, and I tell my parents that too.
Yeah.
My mom and dad, the parents that I thought all you guys could be, just let us coach. And the worst thing, so I wish I would have known how to handle that now, because that changes the game. The parents that are sitting around a table like you and I and having dinner, and they're talking about some other player.
Right.
Kids listen to this. So the parents, I wish that would change. I wish I would have been prepared for the kids not to watch basketball. I was shocked about the IQ, the basketball IQ, watching the game, understanding the game.
Being at home watching like the NBA.
They don't watch that. They don't watch that.
Oh.
They're worried about the 7th grader that's some all-state, all this and that. I'm like,
on some social tweet, someone's tweeting out,
That's ridiculous, and with all the technology we have that huddle that you guys utilize too. Yeah. If I had that when I was playing, that you can click on and see your turnovers and see your shot selection and see all that. And kids don't watch that. I pay big money for that, as you know. And they're not watching that. So this year is going to be a little different for us. You don't watch it. I'm taking it away from you. Right. So there goes your highlights, dude.
Right. So send your highlights out.
Yeah. So
And just to bring up some of those, a lot of these colleges are able to look. We went to we took a couple of guys 7-7 to UF, and one of the coaches he's like what do you call it? He took care. He wasn't a coach. He was a coach, but he kind of took care of the admin. I guess he was like an admin type coach.
Right.
And he was saying that they have access to every high school in the country, so they can look at those. If you put it up on Huddle, they can look at it.
Absolutely. So that's a major tool for these kids and stuff, and they need
so
to
it's not just they're not just watching what you send them. They're able to go back and
you don't have to be in the gym to learn on that. So you can watch that and learn your mistakes right there. And just kind of see what you're doing. I wish I would have had that. And that's a big change, and that those kids are not taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
We are, because I haven't statted, because I'm lazy and I don't want to stat everything, So, but I remember one year last year we watched probably 4 games. We had about 70 turnovers in about 4 or 5 games, and we watched that's all we watched. I clicked
the turnovers.
Everybody's turnover. I said, and we did it twice.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, but. I think I wish they would have told me that with the social media too. I wish they would have told me about social media.
Yeah.
I wish it, because I think that's not good. Social media's not good.
Some of the blessings are kind of curses. It can be curses too. I mean, some of the.
And I try to still keep that toughness of how we were brought up with, and accountability and things like that. But it's tough, You can't pat here. You can't make this. You know what I'm saying? You can't throw. You can't do anything anymore, which is,
Yeah, that's kind of what basketball was.
And I think that's taken away the toughness of it. Not that you're doing anything to, that's crazy thing, but your toughness has gone away as a coach sometimes, and I think that affects the game a little bit, because you notice the toughness of the game isn't there in basketball as much as it should be, I mean, I don't scream as much as I do, I don't talk as much as I do,
Yeah.
I mean, that's changed.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that.
I mean, I had a 9th grade coach who used to tell me, he was the high school coach, he'd back the bus in there because the people turn the heat on so they don't put the window on. I said, I like that. I remember those guys. You remember your coaches, right? Up for certain, they all bring a little piece to your puzzle,
Yeah.
And so, but it's all good. It's a good time. I'm having fun with it still.
That's good.
I don't know how much longer I'll go, but
well, it looks like you can go for a long time.
I got a couple.
Yeah, that's good.
You always say that, then another group comes in, you say, man, I really like this group.
All right. Well, that's the thing. A freshman comes in and I'm like, I kind of like that guy. I want to see it through.
Yeah.
I want to see it through.
I think I've done that now for a while. I got to find that young kid. Right. He owes me some money or something like that. I don't know, just sticking it out.
22 years later.
Yeah.
Wow. But, Coach, thanks for doing this interview.
I enjoyed it. Great, thanks for having me.
This is totally off the rails too. Again, there's no wrong answer. I do think you can answer wrong, but LeBron or Michael Jordan? And we'll end there. I'm a LeBron guy.
Are you?
Yeah, you don't think he's the best ever?